Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to another edition of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. I am Mr. Warren Hayes. I welcome you to this extraordinarily SmackDown Live-ish recap of tonight's edition of SmackDown Live, WWE's programming, wrestling-related programming for the Tuesday nights. This one on that occurred on November 13, 2018. Thank you very much for popping in. If you're here live, that's fantastic. I bow to you. Thank you for joining me live. Because yes, if you're watching this, if you just stumble across it on YouTube, well, I do these live streams live after main roster shows, after Raw, after SmackDown. I pop on here about a half hour after the show's done. Boom. We start talking about what happened during this evening of WWE programming. And boy, do we have a lot of stuff to talk about. Holy crap, folks. There's a lot to process this evening. Well, anyway, if you are watching live right now, why don't you go, if you're in the chat, JPQ's there, making sure everything's running smoothly. You can go join him in there, voice opinions, say hello, tell us what you're feeling, tell us what you think. I like it. It's cool. It's good for everyone. Jump in there, and if you want to add more people in here, well, share the link out, tweet it out, add it on Facebook, do whatever you need to do. Just get it out there. The more the merrier is what I say. Not just I. It's a bit of a cliche, if we're going to be completely frank. Well, let's do that. And even if you aren't watching live right now, you're watching it later, you can still link, share. You can give it a like, a thumbs up. That always helps. It helps out a great deal on YouTube. You wouldn't believe. Subscribe, all that stuff. You don't need me telling you what to do here. One thing you do need me to tell you, however, is everything that's going on this week. I have an extremely busy week when it comes to wrestling-related podcast / talk stuff. I am doing a crap load of stuff. I am literally doing at least one show a day this week. Sometimes pulling double duty. Sometimes pulling triple duty. A lot of things going on. A lot of things that are going on behind the scenes that will eventually end up in front of the scenes or something like that. If you're especially if you're watching this live and you're on the Tuesday on November 13, then tomorrow, being Wednesday, I will be doing my 205 Live NXT UK recap show over on FightfulSelect.com. That's a usual thing. I do that every week. It's not on this channel here. It's over there. Over on FightfulSelect.com. But what is FightfulSelect.com, you may ask? Kind, gentle soul that I will nurture and perhaps snuggle eventually, if you'll let me. But basically what FightfulSelect.com is, it is the premium service of Fightful.com, premier combat sports news website out there, breaking all the news, all the scoops. You get exclusives, you get interviews, all sorts of great content over at Fightful.com. And then there's the premium service, FightfulSelect.com, which gives you extra wrestling-related content, stuff that, well, that you want. You just don't know that you want it yet. But when you take a step back and you think about it, you're like, yeah, I really want this. You want a podcast run by Sean Ross Sapp, managing editor of Fightful.com. You want him to do a recap show where he goes over non-WWE programming, such as Lucha Underground, Impact, Ring of Honor, NWA, New Japan, Being the Elite. He covers all of that. Injury reports, major events in the news cycle. You want him to do that. It's called The Weekender. He does that every week. I do my NXT 205 Live NXT UK recap show every Wednesday. Sean and I, we do retro pay-per-view reviews. We do those. I'm taping some of those this week. I'm taping 2 of them with Sean, on top of everything else I'm doing. But that's going to be there. There's a ton of content there. Head over to FightfulSelect.com. As low as $5 a month. You subscribe there. You start getting all this extra content. I don't know why you're not doing it. What are you doing? Just go. But it's a great way to show your support for Fightful.com. And you know, if you were a member of FightfulSelect.com this evening, November 13th, then you would have got the scoop. You would have got the advance notice that Daniel Bryan was going to become the WWE champion and face Brock Lesnar at Survivor Series. Those are the kind of little tidbits that the upper crust of wrestling fans that belong to Fightful Select acquire, gain, have bestowed upon them. The unwashed masses do not get this kind of fantastic news. I'm exaggerating a little bit. But man, Sean did post that on FightfulSelect.com. It was pretty exciting to see. That's the kind of stuff you get. And you get more Warren Hayes, so why wouldn't you want that? So that's one thing. So I'm doing that tomorrow on Wednesday. Thursday, double duty, I am appearing on the Spees and the Benchmark show. It's my second appearance there. Chris Spizak and Silky, the benchmark of professional wrestling, Silky Baines, 2 extremely cool guys who run one of the most if not the most fan-friendly podcast out there for wrestling fans. I'm super looking forward to joining them. We're going to be doing NXT TakeOver War Games predictions. That's always fun. And that happens at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central. I guess that means 6 Pacific? I don't know the time zones that well. I think that's it. It's a 3-hour difference, right? So then 9, 10, 6 hours. Anyway, you guys can figure it out. And then immediately, well, not immediately after that, but once we're done with his show at 10:30 p.m., Chris Spizak, one of the co-hosts of Spees and the Benchmark, is going to be joining me on this channel right here, on youtube.com/Mr. Warren Hayes, and we're going to do a Survivor Series predictions show. He and I, and that's going to be cool too. Man, we're going to have a lot to talk about on that show. A lot of things happened over the course of 48 hours affecting this show. So it's going to be fun. I'm really looking forward to going back on the show, looking forward to having Chris on the show. I've had Chris on the show once before where we did Hell in a Cell predictions, but I recorded the show and the file got corrupted and I could not do anything with it, and it broke my heart because we had a great show. And it's from that point on that I decided to move on to streaming, because at least this way, I'm not saving anything locally. I'm not risking any corruption. Everything just flows. You make sure everything is testing and working. You have people jumping into the chat saying hello, so things are working, such as Joe Cook. How you doing, Joe? So everything is working fine. I'm going to have Chris back on. It's good. It's kind of going to be like the first time he's here, but if you go deeper into the lore, then you find out that it's his second time. So I'm doing that on Thursday. Friday, I'm having C. Danny Mac of the Undisputed Future podcast on my show again. And we're going to be doing our NXT TakeOver War Games prediction show. Danny's been here before. Cool guy. Covers NXT over on his podcast. You should go take a look at it. That's all he covers. He covers exclusively NXT. He's got a good head on his shoulders, knows what he's talking about. It'll be fun to have him back. And that'll be on Friday. Saturday is a big day, a huge day, because I am jumping into another project, an exciting podcasting project with my buddy Wilfred of the Wilfred Watches podcast, who covers New Japan and British wrestling, pretty much everything that is in WWE. And we are starting a new podcast called The Kings of Chat Style. And it's going to be he and I co-hosting. We're going to have 2 guests on. So we're going to be a panel of 4 individuals. And we're going to be debating. We're going to be talking, discussing 2 topics throughout the show. We're going to sort of go in depth a little bit on them. Chit-chat about current affairs. We're not going to talk about news. We're not going to do news roundups. There's a lot of people who do that. No, we're gonna take a subject and we're gonna pound that subject into the ground. We're gonna make mincemeat out of that topic. We're gonna crush it. So that'll be cool. And our first guests, super honored to have them, Anthony Suter, one half of the Smart to Death podcast dudes. He's going to be joining us, as well as Kristen Ashley. Kristen is she's a friend, but she is also the editor-in-chief of Diva Dirt, wrestling website extraordinaire, committed exclusively to covering women's wrestling. She also writes over at the Daily DDT. So that'll be cool. It'll be super fun. And we're really excited to launch this, Wilfred and I. And again, we're going to be doing this live. And you'll be able to watch it live here on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Mr. Warren Hayes. And then after, if you want to hear it like just the audio in pure podcast form, well, you head on over to Wilfred's channel. Or you look for Wilfred on your favorite, what I'm trying to say here, is you look for Wilfred Watches on your favorite podcasting application, whether it be Apple Podcasts, whether it be Spotify, whether it be Castbox, Stitcher, Podbean, whichever you prefer. You get on there, you look for Wilfred Watches, and you get our show. So that's really exciting. And I hope you guys tune in, because I'm looking forward to kicking that one off. And then on Saturday night and Sunday night, I will be joining Sean Ross Sapp and Alex Pulowski on Fightful.com. Post-show wrap-ups, recaps of both NXT TakeOver War Games on Saturday and Survivor Series on Sunday. Your boy Warren just might lose his voice unless he's not careful, lest he shouts all the time. He should be fine, but I better be careful. All right. You know what? I am as you usually know, at this point in the show, I pull out the bold predictions. And I set out my bold predictions today, but not many people participated. The predictions weren't all that bold. So I'm kind of thinking, I felt like folks over on Twitter today had something a little more on their mind than bold predictions. They had Becky Lynch on their minds today. They had Nia Jax on the brain today. There was a lot of talk about that, and it didn't feel like today was very conducive to levity. So we're just going to skip the bold predictions this week, folks. Don't worry, we'll bring them back. And I'll, the Twitter timeline will reignite sooner than later, perhaps under more joyous circumstances. But there was really something going on. There was a bad vibe on Twitter.com today regarding what happened last night on Raw, which I was flipping out over. Such an iconic moment. Like anyone was watching live yesterday, we really saw something unique. One of these moments in wrestling that's literally lightning in a bottle, and you're like, look, not only does this stuff happen only once in a while, but you can't make it up. This is the kind of stuff that just happens. And watching Becky bleeding from her face, we learned today it was broken by my boy Sean over on Fightful. Even Uncle Dave Meltzer credited Fightful for the news. Sean broke the news, and it was confirmed during SmackDown tonight. Becky Lynch is not cleared medically to wrestle. She has a concussion and a broken face. Not like a broken collarbone or a broken nose, cracked jaw. No, her face is broken. How do you break a face? How does that... I mean, that's the least scientific thing. You know. But anyway, the match at Survivor Series against Ronda Rousey is not going to happen, at least not against Becky Lynch. And today was very, very, very volatile on Twitter today. People were picking apart the gifs of Nia Jax just looking for fault, blaming it on her. Her social media has been horrendous. Now, what we've gathered backstage, here's kind of what the timeline was from what I understand, what I've gathered, and what I've been told from my buddies who do wrestling journalism for realsies, as opposed to me, who's just like a guy who sits around drinking water. Apparently, the timeline when it happened, when everyone went backstage, the attitude was like, "Oh well, yeah, it's not ballet. Shit happens. What are you gonna do? And it was very like, oh, all right, it's an accident." So things go on. The ladies start packing up, getting into cars to leave, but Becky's not leaving with them. They're keeping her behind. She's being examined. Slowly and surely, the shit happens attitude turns into heat on Nia Jax, and because she just straight out potatoed old Becky, just clocked her right in the face with a closed fist. That's all there is to it. And when it was determined that earlier today that Becky would not be cleared to wrestle, she got a little more heat. Things are not super good right now for Nia Jax. Becky, when she went to the ring, to do her promo tonight. We'll talk about it in a little bit, but she did look legitimately mad at what was going on, and was not dealing with it particularly easily. And while I think there's a lot of overreaction that happens in these types of situations where people just go straight out attacking whoever was the perpetrator of the event, going after Nia and being extremely disrespectful isn't even the strongest word we can use here. People being very demeaning, discouraging, disheartening. Nia ended up, not Nia, sorry, but despite the fact that all the hatred pointed towards her is over the top, Nia doesn't have a reputation about being a good safe hand. She's injured. She's injured quite a bit of wrestlers in her time right now. I mean, we're talking about injured or hurt. Maybe not necessarily taken out with an injury, but she has hurt quite a bit of people. Let me see here. Let me just pull something out here. Like, she's injured Bayley in the past. Zelina Vega very recently, right? Tossing her out at the Evolution Battle Royal. She's injured Charlotte. She's injured Alexa. Now Becky. And what makes it worse is that Becky right now is pretty much the golden goose of WWE. So it's not a good look on her, and she is getting a lot of heat. And the way that WWE was presenting when they showed the footage, and they're like, okay, well, let's just go with it. They from the angle that they showed from their cameras, they did it in slow motion and everything. That fist connected hard to Becky's cheek. It came in hard, and I was surprised at first at how clear cut they were setting this up, because this was doing nothing to appease the inflamed masses on this was doing nothing to appease the masses on Twitter showing this footage. I was like, okay, they're not doing Nia any favors right now, but she did, but it does show WWE is piling some heat on her. They're setting her up to take full responsibility for this. Now, I was speculating earlier today. I was thinking, before all of this really came to light, especially before the injury came out, when there were starting to be rumors. I was thinking, well, this if they play their cards right, is absolutely brilliant. Like, Becky can take some time off, recover from the concussion, let the bruise on her face heal a bit, and come back, and she's going to be insanely over. Like, this situation has done nothing to harm Becky Lynch in any way. She's absolutely 100% okay. So if they play their cards right, Becky Lynch come back, or in the meantime, while she comes back, and you just have Nia take full credit for taking out the man, right? For beating her down. Then you'd have a fantastic feud on your hands. A good old-fashioned blood feud. Kind of like what Rhea Ripley, what they're doing in NXT UK with Rhea Ripley and Tegan Nox. Tegan Nox got injured in their match at the Mae Young Classic. It was absolutely not Rhea Ripley's fault. Tegan Nox just landed really poorly, destroyed her knees. It was nobody's fault except a dumb, stupid accident. But Rhea Ripley has been using it as fodder to put herself over as a monster heel, and it's working. In the meantime, Tegan Nox, well, she's healing. You can swear to God when she comes back, she is going to be a massive babyface. Tegan Nox, horrible, horrible heel. You've got a built-in feud. So I was thinking, well, maybe they can do the same thing here. Maybe they'll just, they can do the same thing. But at this point, and it's because it's the amount of times that this has happened for Nia, like, this is not the first time. Maybe it's time to just pull back a little bit. I think, Brian Alvarez was pointed out today in a tweet. He said, I don't want anyone to lose their job. But Nia needs to be sent back to developmental and fast. I kind of agree. I think she was pulled out too early. Way too early. She needs to go back and work some more and work well and work hard. It's not that she can't do it. She has the upside. She has the talent. She needs to go back. Because now she's establishing herself as a liability to everyone as we keep going forward. And at some point, as a producer, you have to step in and you have to say, look, this is enough. We can't let her go into the ring anymore. She's hurting our people. She needs to work on this, this, and that. Let's pull her away. I say producer, agent, whatever they're calling themselves these days. Whoever organizes the match, puts the matches together, someone has to step in a managerial capacity and say, look, there's something that needs to be fixed. In the whole Brie Bella saga from a couple of months ago, weeks ago, feels like years at this stage, this was the thing that I had the biggest problem with. It wasn't as much the fact that Brie Bella was going cuckoo crazy across the ring and injuring herself and others. It's that she kept doing it week after week, every time she came out. And no one stepped in to say, you know what, Brie? Maybe you should not be wrestling. Because even before the Liv thing happened, remember those dives that she did during that match on Raw? She pulled 2 dives. She almost killed herself on both. I may be slightly exaggerating, but she did almost hurt herself on 2 dives in the same match. She almost tore Zelina Vega's head off on a match on SmackDown. And then the infamous kick that took Liv out. And then in the same match, she stiffs Ruby Riott. So at some point, Brie has her responsibility in this, but WWE management at some point has to be like, look, okay, this is enough. We don't have to reach the point where we're hurting people. We can step in beforehand and take them out of action, remove them from the ring. Just give them some time to polish themselves off before tossing them back in there. When Brie nailed Zelina in the head with severely on that SmackDown match that they had, they should have taken a step back and like, look, okay, let's go through some motions. We have to work some stuff out because that was not safe. That was not safe at all. Same thing with Nia here. There is a part of responsibility on Nia, but there's a huge part of responsibility put on WWE for putting these superstars, whether they be male or female, it just so happens in this case we're talking about women, but male or female, putting these superstars who aren't ready to compete on this level or who are showing shortcomings that maybe we weren't aware of, and just like, okay, we're just gonna take you off this path here. We're gonna train you a bit more, and that is entirely on the company. Because if Nia injures Bayley, Charlotte, Alexa, Zelina, and they keep her in the ring and they let her do her thing, well, of course, eventually something ugly, literally ugly, is going to happen. That is going to be a detriment to the company. It's going to be detriment to storylines, to another competitor's career and livelihood. And that's exactly what happened on Monday night. One of Becky Lynch's biggest matches of her career, she can't do it because of a botched punch, because of a stiff, not working punch. And this is not, like I said, there is a part of responsibility that's on Nia, but WWE should have worked on something before we got to this point. You know, the part where she dropped, where she hurt Bayley, that should have been a big sign right there. It's like, okay, she just took the move wrong. She just didn't land on the right leg, if my memory's correct. Enough's enough. Okay, well, we have to go back to some fundamentals here. So that's my Becky rant, my Nia rant. Should we talk about SmackDown now? Let's look over at chat here. We got Joe and Jacob here. Joe saying nothing can save Nia now. They took her out of NXT way too quick, right? That you are correct, Joe. Yeah, it's pretty much what I said. And well, we just said the same thing. Oh my God, yeah, that's pretty much it. But she needs to go back to developmental. She needs some time to polish herself off. And it's not that, like I said, it's not that she doesn't have the talent. She has upside. Nia Jax has upside, for sure. They just pulled her up too quickly because they wanted a huge monster on main. Jacob just popped in and he says, I agree 100%. Brie needs to work on her wrestling skills, and yes, Jax as well. Well, I think Brie is taking an extended hiatus from wrestling. Yeah. And Joe says, I don't understand why she swung so hard. I don't know. You know, sometimes you can just get fired up. You just in the heat of the moment. You know, Becky was sort of going at her, you know, from behind, side of the head. But at some point, it's all work, right? You know, it's all like, you know, you're not getting beat up for real. I don't know if she had something to prove or whatever, but she swung. Boy, did she swing. All right, let's talk about SmackDown Live then, folks. Let's go at it. Let's go at it like a stiff right closed fist. We start by recapping the women's attack on SmackDown, not on Raw, I should say. And like I said during my rant, you know, the slow motion that they put in showing Nia's punch landing like square on Becky's face, that's a message. That's WWE sending out a message. They've got something to prove here. Start with an AJ Styles interview. He says, basically comes to the ring. He says he's been the workhorse of WWE since joining the company. He's defeated everyone. Since he's been champion, he's defeated everyone that has come in his path except for Brock. But now he gets a second chance, and he plans on doing more than just surviving. He plans on conquering. And then Paul Heyman is in the audience, and I like how they introduced this. Like, of course, Paul is on the bitter rival enemy brand. I'm not going to get into another brand supremacy Survivor Series stakes rant. You want it? I did it yesterday. It took up a substantial portion of the stream. So you can go over and listen to that there. But I liked how Paul Heyman was there, and he was kind of like in the audience, and he was kind of threatening the house announcer. Like, give me the microphone, and no, I'm not giving you the microphone. They just says, "Come on, just give Heyman the microphone." Okay. So he does this shtick. He says that he's out here to say that there's no one that Brock wants to face more in WWE than AJ Styles. The reason? Well, when you think about the greatest WWE performers, you know, Ricky Steamboat, Ric Flair, the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, and AJ Styles is in there as well, but not the greatest. Just not quite as good as Daniel Bryan. But you're not a consolation prize, AJ. You're fantastic. We love you. But Styles gets it. He says, I get it, Paul. You're coming over here. You want to get into my head. You're trying to get under my skin. But let me remind you that not only did I defeat Daniel Bryan, but I made him tap. So eventually Daniel Bryan's music hits and he comes out and he looks irritated. He doesn't look very happy. He doesn't seem to be in a good place mentally. And he's wondering why everyone's talking about him. He says, I told you, AJ, I respect you. I told you that. But I also told you that I'm looking for a reason to punch you in the face. So let me make myself clear. If you say my name one more time, I'm going to punch you in the face. AJ's like, look, hey, it's Heyman who came over here and started talking about you. I didn't mention your name at all, but, if we're at a play, I don't know why I can't say your name, Daniel Bryan, and true to his word. D-Bry clocks him in the face. Careful of those, watch out for those closed fists, boys. But they go at it. Officials run in, Shane runs in, and he's pissed. Shane is completely bonkers. They're going at it. Bryan, there's a pull apart, brawl, all sorts of officials trying to keep them apart. Go to commercial. When we come back, Shane is arguing with Daniel Bryan backstage, and Paige is in there in the back as well, and she's trying to get everything back in control. And AJ runs in, and he's still pissed, and everyone's yelling him. I really like, and basically the outcome here is that Shane makes a match, AJ versus Daniel Bryan, for the main event for the WWE SmackDown title. WWE SmackDown WWE title. And what I really liked about this whole opening segment is how chaotic everything was. Everything was a mess. Like everything felt out of control. And it's like, wait a minute, look here. We've got a pay-per-view in a couple of days, and you guys are fighting. We're supposed to be on a team. Daniel, this is Shane talking. What are you doing? Now you're gonna fight this guy. He was like, ugh. I like the chaotic aspect of it here. JMO14, welcome to the chat. He says Daniel Bryan, new Heyman guy. God, everyone wants new Heyman guys, right? Every time this happens, this is pretty funny. Every time, it's like, new Heyman guy. I think Paul is very much content just hanging around with Brock. First match of the night is Jeff Hardy versus Andrade Cien Almas. Almas starts in control early on. He lays some kicks on Jeff that gets him down. But Hardy battles back with some chops. He gets a jawbreaker, tosses Almas into the ropes. Who hits the Tranquilo pose, in which production can't get a camera on, so we get the hard side camera. We get the hard camera where you basically can't see him because he's on the rightmost ropes, I should say. Anyway, he does the Tranquilo pose, but Hardy kicks him in the gut, so that tosses him to the outside. Back from commercial, Hardy does the double leg drop. Almas avoids a twist of fate. Why did I have trouble saying twist of fate? He goes up to the top rope. Hardy goes up to the top rope, but Almas crotches him. Almas does one of the spots that I hate the most. He has Hardy down in a tree of woe, and Hardy is sort of crunching up, in an L, he's sort of crunching up in the tree of woe, and then Almas jumps off the top rope and stomps his stomach while he's there. It's such a dumb spot. It's a dumb spot. I don't like it. I don't know what you think about that spot, chat. Please agree with me. Like and subscribe. Corner Meteora by Almas on Jeff. But then he gets rolled up by Jeff. Only gets 2, though. Almas avoids another twist of fate. Hits his reverse elbow. Covers Hardy for 2. But finally, Jeff Hardy gets that twist of fate on Almas. Swanton bomb. Jeff Hardy wins. Good on him. Now, I'm kind of wondering what happened to this Andrade Cien Almas push that we got when he got called up. Wasn't winning all of his matches, but he was certainly more dominant than what we saw here this evening. I mean, this is a guy who took AJ Styles to the limit. This is a guy who established a fair amount of dominance over Rusev. He's fought Daniel Bryan. Didn't he beat Daniel Bryan? He beat Daniel Bryan. And now, a bit of a losing streak? I mean, technically, he should be able to beat Jeff Hardy. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I'm not crying foul right now. The important thing is that he continues to be on TV and be as good as he can. There we go. So there we go. Swanton, that's that. Miz and Paige are backstage, and it's announced right then and there that Daniel Bryan has been taken off Team SmackDown. Jeff Hardy is in, but Miz wants to kick Ray off the team. Ray being Rey Mysterio, because he doesn't want the stench of Bryan on the team. He says it smells like, and then he starts going like this. It smells like, and then for some reason, Samoa Joe takes offense to Miz saying that it stinks. I don't know why Samoa Joe would take offense to it unless he does have like a glandular problem that we're not aware of, and that, you know, it's like there's some unwritten rule where, you know, don't make fun of Joe's smell. Like, he can't control it, and people, the boys backstage, they all share that information. It's like, I don't know why he took offense to it, but there's something about it smells like coconut oil, and I don't know if that's a Samoan crack. It just confused me. I think it was supposed to be funny, but it just ended up confusing me. And honestly, folks, I am easily confused. Right? You know, they hike the bus prices, and they don't inform us. I get confused. I get to the counter and I want to, and I pay for bus fare, because I take the bus to work, to my day job. I take the bus because it's easier. Right? It takes 2 times. It's super short because it goes really, really well. Anyway, so when I go and pay, and they say, well, instead of it being $84.50, it's $86. Like, why is it $86? Oh, well, they hiked it. Why? Why did they hike the price? Well, it was announced. To whom? Well, on their website. I don't go on the public transit website every day. I know what routes I have to take to get to my destination. I don't go every day. Well, maybe you should subscribe to their Twitter feed. Well, you should subscribe to your face, lady. We get a quick promo from Shinsuke Nakamura on the most criminally did we mention that? No, we didn't mention that there's that Paige makes a match between Rey Mysterio and Miz here, and if Miz can defeat Rey Mysterio Jr., then Rey's off the team. I like it. I like very clear, interesting stakes to a match like this. I love it. We get a promo with Shinsuke. Now, okay, so Shinsuke versus Seth Rollins. Let's be frank, folks. I said it last night on Raw, and I'm going to say it again. This is dream match territory. We're getting Tyler Black versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Shinsuke's always had the same name. This is a big deal. Seth, arguably one of the top 3 best workers in the company right now. Probably one of the best in the world right now. Against fucking Shinsuke Nakamura. And this is the hype we get for it. We get, last night on Raw, Seth Rollins explicitly saying, I don't care about Shinsuke Nakamura. Okay. And then we have Shinsuke Nakamura in a very short promo, at least making fun of that, saying, oh, he broke my heart, because he's not thinking about me. I've been thinking about him, but not me. So he breaks my heart. He broke my heart. So on Sunday, I'm going to break his face. Fine. This build has been stupid for the legitimate dream match that we're getting here. This, in all due respect, should be a barn burner. I don't know if they're going to give them the time to do it. I think it's going to be a match that's essentially going to serve to advance the Dean Seth storyline. It's not going to be a satisfying conclusion. But it's weird. We basically got no build out of it. But then again, maybe it's a good thing. Maybe we'll just all be surprised on Sunday evening. Like, whoa. Anyway. Next we do get our Miz versus Rey Mysterio match. Miz starts off with a lot of roll-ups, dodging a lot of Rey's offense at first, and he's pretty satisfied with himself in the meantime as well. Mysterio does his flapjack into a DDT move, covers Miz, gets 2. Rey Rana's Miz to the outside, gets a drop kick in as well, does his baseball slide dive, but Miz lifts his knees up in a very, very nice spot. I liked it. It looked really, really good. Rey was really flying out. Miz lifted his knees up, just sort of bounced off the knees. That looked good. Some top rope shenanigans end with a seated senton by your boy Ray. Kick to the side of Miz's face, covers him, only gets 2. Miz battles back, gets his planted DDT on Rey, covers, and gets a 2.9. He bounces a powerbomb off the top rope. He being Miz, bounces Rey in a powerbomb position off the top rope into a sit-out powerbomb. Covers, only gets 2. Rey squirms out of a skull-crushing finale, hits the 619, goes for his frog splash, but it's knees up for your boy, The Miz. Miz goes for a cover, gets 2. He comes off the cover and he does the typical heel, I can't believe that he kicked out. And as he's doing it, Rey just grabs him from behind into a crucifix pin and wins out of nowhere. Loved that ending because it just, when they say the ending came out of nowhere, this really came out of nowhere because how Miz was reacting was just like usual Miz. And you're like, okay, yeah, all right. The heel doesn't understand why he didn't get a pin. Boom! Just out of nowhere, he gets into a crucifix. That's the end of that match. I liked it. That was a fun ending. Then all of a sudden, not Rey Mysterio, but Orton, Randy of his first name, not Cowboy Bob. Although that would have been really funny if Cowboy Bob Orton ran in to hit an RKO on Rey, but no, it was his son Randall who runs in after Rey, but Rey avoids him. Orton then bumps into The Miz, who eats the RKO instead, allowing Rey to escape the wrath of Randy Orton, who apparently has Rey in his sights. So I'm really excited to see what kind of despicable crap Randy Orton is going to do on Rey Mysterio. I hope it's something really messed up. Paige is in the ring, and she invites all the women of SD Live to SD Live. So I wrote SD Live in my comments, in my notes, I should say. All the women of SmackDown Live to the ring. So she starts with Charlotte, come on in. And Charlotte, she gets her entrance. And then after that, it's, I don't remember. Was it Lana? No, it wasn't Lana. Who was next? Well, let's say it was Lana, and she gets her entrance. And you get your entrance. And you get your entrance. And everyone gets their entrance. Everyone came to the ring with their entrance. Then it finally invites the champ, Becky Lynch, to come to the ring. I thought this was a nice touch, having Becky come out to cut her promo in front of the entire locker room, the women's division. Such a nice touch. Made Becky look like a goddamn star. I really think that at this point, as much as they've tried, WWE gets it now. No one is going to boo for Becky Lynch. No one is going to jeer. No one's going to hate Becky Lynch. I think they've come to terms with that. I really, really do. I think after Evolution, I think everyone sort of just shrugged and like, well, let's just run with her as this aggressive tweener. Because there's no way anyone's ever going to boo her if after this. It's not going to work. So she's in the ring. She cuts her promo. You can tell. Like she's thanking the audience. Maybe a bit out of character at this point, but you can tell this is eating her up inside. This is not fun for her. And man, the welt she has on her face. Oh, there's nothing good about that. That looks like it hurts. Man, if I got that, I'd be in bed for a week. I wouldn't go anywhere. Oh, I'd do these shows though. And then you'd be like, look at Warren the tough guy. I'd sit here in front of my camera and I'd do like, guys, I'm trying to talk, but I can't because this is really, really stiff. Oh, it's so tender and so delicate. Ow. I can't wait for it heals, guys. But like I couldn't do anything, and she's there in the ring, and basically what she does is she has to pick her replacement, so she looks at everyone. Well, before she does her promo, she doesn't bury Nia, which is something. But she says, take my word, even with a concussion and a broken face, I could still kick Ronnie's ass. I love when she calls Ronda Rousey Ronnie. It makes me giggle. I really like it. It says, but I'm sorry that I can't finish what I started yet. You're not the baddest bitch on the planet, Ronda. You're the luckiest bitch. And I'm like, God bless you. God bless you, Becky. When you think about it, it just popped into my mind. When you think about it, and I don't know what you think about this, chat, maybe WWE dodged a bullet here to a certain degree. You'd have to be a complete blind newbie to the business to not understand how they're booking Ronda Rousey right now, they being WWE. They are positioning her as the top alpha female. She is the woman. Like, that's how they're booking her. They're booking her strong. She's defeating everyone. She's legit. That's how they're pushing her right now. Top babyface. Becky, supposed to be top heel, but that blew up in their face. What would have happened at Survivor Series as far as audience reaction goes? Like, sure, Ronda gets good reactions, sure. But put her in the ring with Becky Lynch, who everyone loves. Becky would have been cheered out of the building. Ronda would have been murdered, I think, by the audience. I think the audience would have turned on her. I don't know what you guys think, but maybe they may have just dodged a bullet here as far as the reactions they want to have. Because in my opinion, there was no way Becky was going to win at Survivor Series. I mentioned it last night on the Raw show. Ronda needs to win. She needs to win big matches to look strong because that's how she's being booked. Becky is a bulletproof. Right now, she's the most over performer in the company. Not woman. Performer. She is on top. They can do anything with her right now. People will still cheer for her. That's fine. So right now, she's bulletproof. Ronda had to win. Imagine the crowd reaction. Becky Lynch tapping out. There wouldn't have been cheers there. Hell, the crowd turned on Charlotte Flair. They're going to turn on Ronda Rousey on a dime. Wait a minute. Joe in the chat says, I watched Cowboy Bob Orton. I was talking about Bob Orton a few minutes ago. I watched Cowboy Bob Orton wrestle a few weeks ago up in Akron at an AIW show. How painful was that, Joe? Let us know. Okay, so back to Becky in the ring. She says that she has to pick her replacement, and she stares everyone down. She looks over everyone. Look, if this was a popular vote thing, Asuka would have been the woman in. But she picks Charlotte? Renewal of their friendship? This blood feud has finally come to a close? Are we cementing a friendlier semi-baby face? Becky Lynch? I mean, it was a gesture. The hug. Like, if they were looking for a marquee match, it's kind of hard not to do. It was kind of hard not to do Charlotte versus Ronda at this point. You know what I mean? It's like down the road. If you're looking towards WrestleMania, because everyone was saying, "Oh, the WrestleMania match, it's Charlotte versus Ronda," but at this point, your WrestleMania match for the women's division is unquestionably Ronda Rousey versus Becky Lynch. So again, maybe this is just like not karma, but just luck. Maybe just fate booking into something better, making sure that WWE doesn't do any preemptive stupid moves. Anyway, I'm not quite sure how to feel about the Becky and Charlotte getting all cozy-dozy again with each other so soon after. I don't know. But it feels a little contrived storyline-wise, because if they were going to build themselves back up into a friendship, or at least into a mutual respect thing, it would have been nice to stretch this out over a couple of weeks, couple of months, just a few little things. You just sprinkle it as we go along. Now it just feels contrived. Now it's like, dudes, we're stuck. Oh, let's put Charlotte in the match. Yeah, but Charlotte hates Becky. Okay, well, maybe they don't hate each other anymore. Now the question that pops up, the question that pops up at this point is the question that comes to us here: who takes Charlotte's place in the Survivor Series match? Because she was supposed to become the captain, so on and so forth. Now she's in the main event, not in the main event, but she's in a match, in a singles match. Who takes the spot? The remaining spot. I've already seen people speculating Shayna Baszler. Oh, they're going to call up Kairi Sane. Oh, maybe they're going to put I don't remember. There was all sorts of names being tossed around, but I think people are anticipating it a little too much. I think that the logical thing to do here, especially with how they've been positioning things, Mandy Rose is going to take the spot. They're clearly establishing some kind of feud between Rose and Sonya Deville. I think they're going to push this forward. I think they're going to go with it. They're going to toss Mandy into the match and have some drama happen to push this feud forward. That's what I really think is going to happen. Because that's what makes most sense at this point. And someone on Twitter asked me about this. And I was like, who do I think? And I said, well, exactly what I just told you guys, Mandy Rose. No, I'm not looking forward to that. Why? It's not interesting. Why is it not interesting? And why should we all immediately shut this down? This WWE is literally doing something that we've been asking them for months to do. Months and months and months on end. Put new talent forward. Show us new women. Give women a place. Women that we haven't seen yet. Give them some spotlight. Let them develop. I don't know if it's going to be interesting. We don't know. That's right. We don't know if it's going to be interesting. Because they haven't been well developed. These characters, Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville, they've been background noise. They've been backup players for Paige, and then when they moved over on SmackDown Live as well, now they're getting some spotlight, and we're gonna shit on it? No, I'm excited for this because it's finally it's like yes, let's try something with women that we haven't seen yet. WWE never developed stars. Well, there you go. Well, we have to start somewhere, don't we? I'm not saying that this will be the perfect solution, but goddamn, we like to shit on WWE when they're not doing when they're doing things that are illogical. Now they're doing something that actually makes sense, that responds to a lot of criticism that they get, and we're still going to shit on it? No, at some point you do have to give them credit where credit is due. Let me just jump in here. Joe Cook answered about Bob Orton in Show and Akron. He said he teamed with Hornswoggle and some tall guy that I forgot the name. He hit a few moves and eventually won. It was nuts and the crowd went crazy. He was there for a meet and greet and he came out as a surprise. Crazy he still does it. Yeah, he does. It's crazy that he's still in the ring. I know he's very involved with fan festivals and stuff like that. That's good. Jacob says Ronda Rousey would have been booed out of the building when Becky lost the match. For show. And then Joe says, or Nikki Cross, probably talking about the replacement. It'll be Mandy. I think Nikki is still needed, still required in NXT. I think she's going to put Candice LeRae over. And that's fine. But I don't think Nikki's time on main is here just yet. We have the Usos versus the New Day. I'm going over a bit here. Try to go through this. Did I say Usos versus the New Day? No, it's the Bar versus the New Day. What am I talking about? Sheamus and Kofi started off. Kofi takes Sheamus down with a lot of quickness. He tags Xavier in. And they get some chain offense in, then they tag Big E, more chain offense. I love when the New Day do this. It's fantastic. Big E and Woods do a combo splash leg drop. Cover only gets 2. Cesaro then grabs Woods and gets him into the corner. And Show starts slapping him. We go to commercial. When we come back, the Bar are all over Xavier Woods, who is your babyface in peril for this point of the match. Double team backbreaker on Woods. Cover is broken up by Big E. Xavier avoids a back body drop, but eats a pump knee by Sheamus. Top rope shenanigans ends with Woods hitting a missile drop kick and a hot tag to Kofi. A very nice hot tag. Starts flying left and right, taking dudes out. Goes to the top, hits a nice cross body block. Big E eventually eats a brogue kick that tosses him to the outside. Xavier gets thrown into the commentary table. That leaves, poor old little Kofi in the ring. But he hits Trouble in Paradise on Sheamus. The SOS on Cesaro. Covers him, only gets 2. Kofi does a springboard off the second turnbuckle, but Show was tagged in. And he eats a knockout punch. Covers for the win. I did the thumbs down thing because a punch as a finisher is dumb. Even though a real punch, as we saw last night, can take someone out severely. I think as a wrestling move, a punch is dumb. It's dumb when Big Show does it. It's dumb when Lacey Evans does it. It's dumb. Don't do punches as finishers. It's dumb. Dumb. What makes your punches more special? What is it about him? Big Show. Okay, his fist is as big as your head. Maybe. But then he uses punches in his usual offense. What makes his final punch the final punch? He pulls back a little more? Or maybe he has like metal plates in his knuckles or something. You remember Lex Luger? Lex Luger had a metal plate in his forearm. He got hit with the forearm. That'd knock you right out, boy, because he had a metal plate in his arm because of a motorcycle accident. That was actually legit, but they worked it in storyline. Anyway, I'll try not to get worked up on working on punches as finishers. We get the Usos who are backstage hyping up the SmackDown Live teams for the Survivor Series match that they're going to have on Sunday, including the Colognes. The Colognes are involved in this. And finally, our main event, Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles for the WWE Championship. Excuse me. We start by Bryan, who delivers some kicks on Styles in the corner. He runs the ropes, but gets flipped to the outside. Styles hits a nice diving forearm plancha style to the outside on Daniel Bryan. Back from commercial, Bryan is hitting his yes kicks, but Styles goes to work on his left knee. Enziguri by Daniel Bryan takes AJ out. Eventually, AJ goes for a springboard something. We'll never quite know because Daniel Bryan pushes him off as he's doing the springboard, and AJ falls to the outside hard like a rag doll. Like a rag doll. He rams AJ into the post, he being Daniel Bryan. Starts working the left arm, so they're both working on a body part. Arms for Daniel because of the yes lock. Legs for your boy AJ because of the calf crusher. See, that's how it works. Styles tries to battle back, but he gets swept back down to the mat. Daniel Bryan is working the arm. He's twisting it, bending it in ways that it's not supposed to go. Bryan kicks the bad arm. Covers, gets two, but then goes right back to work on the arm. That was nice. Styles starts to battle back. They trade some strikes, forearms, punches. Styles with a combination that ends with a spinning back fist. Splash on Bryan in the corner. They both run the ropes and collide into each other. Get back from commercial, if I'm not mistaken, and Bryan hits a super Hurricane Rana on Styles. Goes for the cover, but only gets two. Styles hits a Pele kick on Bryan, who was on the top rope, seated on the top rope. That's really cool. I don't think he got all of it, but he got enough to make it look cool. They climb up for some shenanigans again on the ropes. Bryan kicks AJ, who ends up in the tree, who's in the tree of woe, and Bryan starts kicking him. Hits a running basement drop kick to the face. He goes back up with a belly to back. They both go back up, and we get a belly-to-back superplex. By God. Goes for a cover. Bryan does. Only gets two. Bryan with some more kicks. But AJ grabs his leg and tries to go for the Styles Clash. Doesn't quite work out, but AJ gets another Pele kick on Bryan, and he gets it good this time. The 450 springboard splash follows, but knees up Bryan, and he gets him immediately into the yes lock, which was really, really nicely done. Quick sequence. I like that. AJ reaches the ropes to break up the hold. Bryan runs at him, but AJ has all his wits about him. Takes his knee out, goes for the calf crusher in the middle of the ring. Bryan reverses it into an armbar, then into the yes lock. And then Styles reverses that into a slingshot into the corner. Nice sequence right there. Styles is on the apron, goes for the phenomenal forearm, but instead runs into Little Nate, Charles Robinson, accidentally. And while Charles Robinson is out, Daniel Bryan hits a low blow on AJ Styles. To the shock of all. Styles is spent. His balls hurt. He tries to stand up. He can't. But he stands up enough to eat a running, jumping knee. Daniel Bryan covers. And we have a new WWE champion. You guys. I am okay with this. I am fine with this. 100% fine. It works so well, especially in the psychology that they established between these two, where there was respect. Respect was the key word. But Daniel Bryan had been acting a little dickish, right? Over the past couple of weeks, it was a bit of a dick. Bit of a dicky dick. Something happened. Something's going on in his brain. It was like he wasn't telling us everything that was that he had on his mind. And tonight he just snapped. Just something happened. So it makes sense that AJ was completely taken aback because he was not expecting Daniel Bryan to do this kind of underhanded trickery. And yes, he had people cheering, but as you saw the camera shots, there were some people holding the top of their heads like, what the hell just happened here? AJ Styles' year-plus run as WWE champion has come to a close. 371 days, I think? It has ended. Daniel Bryan is your new WWE champion. Daniel Bryan is going to be facing Brock Lesnar at Survivor Series. My dudes. What is that going to be like? Wow. And heel Daniel Bryan? The heel situation on SmackDown needed some revitalizing. They needed to do something. So this is going to be like a good breath of fresh air. I don't know if they're going to let AJ take some time off. There has been talk for months that AJ was supposed to take some time off, heal up some nagging injuries. Nothing serious, just like, rest. Maybe that's what it's going to happen, because the beating that Daniel Bryan put on AJ after the match was kind of surprising. Stomping him right on the head, holding his arms and stomping his head. It's like, wow, okay, we're going harsh here. That's severe. That's quite the visual. Daniel Bryan wasn't as much about celebrating with the championship. He was more about like beating the shit out of AJ Styles. That was surprising. So everything kind of gets flipped around on its head here. Where are we headed? What's down the line? Is Styles versus Daniel Bryan your WrestleMania main event? It's a WrestleMania main event caliber match. I don't think that we've seen everything that these two can dish out at each other. Of course, they're thinking about WrestleMania at this point. We're on the cusp of the quote-unquote WrestleMania season. Once we're done with TLC, technically, Royal Rumble is next. That's usually the kickoff. So of course, they're thinking to April. This is so weird. So, is AJ not going to be at Survivor Series? It'd be his first pay-per-view absence since his debut. It'd be the first pay-per-view that he's not on, I believe. It's crazy. Joe Cook says, I'm so glad they took the belt off of AJ. He beat everybody, so it was definitely time. And I think that's part of the reason. I think that there was only Randy Orton really that was left here. Sadistic old Randy Orton. But I don't think they're positioning Randy Orton as a big time guy upper tier all that much anymore. Like upper mid card, but not maybe top guy anymore. Maybe his last WWE championship run took the wind out of those sails. I liked this episode of SmackDown. I liked it. Thought there was just enough chaos, good matches, and what a mind-blowing ending here. But there's one thing that we have to address. One last thing that we have to address. At this point, damn it, AJ Styles, can anyone look, if anyone wants to clip this video, this part of this video, and send it to him. This is heartfelt, okay? You can send this directly to AJ Styles. Make sure that he watches this. AJ, how you doing? I think at this point, it's clear that you need to be wearing a cup all the time, AJ. Now, I don't know if it's a question that you're not sure how to go about purchasing one. Maybe you don't have available funds. I am willing, AJ, to start a GoFundMe to buy you a cup that you can use so that you don't have to go through this anymore. Why haven't you learned, AJ, at this point, that you need to wear a cup? What's happening, AJ? I want to help. I need to be part of the solution. I need to be part of the solution for you. So I will do this for you. We'll start a GoFundMe. We'll get you a cup, AJ. We'll get you one. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wrap this one up. We're going to say adios and good night and good day and arrivederci and au revoir and all that stuff to everyone who's watching, who jumped into the chat here tonight. Thank you so much for jumping in. Joe and JPQ and Jacob, everyone who popped in. That was great. And if you're watching right now, thank you very much for taking the time and allowing me to regale you with a few thoughts here and there. And I hope you come over because there's a lot more Warren Hayes stuff over the next couple of days. Thanks again, everyone. I'll see you next time.